The next type of ecosystem that we'll do are the deserts. And I usually talk about just the US deserts. There are deserts in all of the continents again, and there's so many of them that I actually teach a whole class. It's called Desert Ecology, and it's all about specifically just deserts. And we talk a little bit about deserts in the world too. So if we look again at the main characteristics, less than 14 inches of rain in precipitation. So that's really what makes a desert, is that they have very little rainfall compared to everywhere else. It's very hot during the day and very cold at night. So they have real extreme, just daytime extreme temperatures because they're so dry, there's not that humidity to hold the moisture in. If we think about the tundra, they actually have a lot more humidity that holds some of that moisture in. In the deserts, we actually don't get that at all. We have a lot of leafless plants, things like cactus and succulents. They tend to be low elevations in the world, and they are found on all continents. So that's where, that's kind of the common theme for deserts, ecosystems throughout the world. Now I'm going to focus on 4 of the deserts in the US. We'll talk about the 3 hot deserts and how they're unique, and then we'll also talk about the cold desert, which is where we live. And in each one, I expect you to know the characteristics like how much precipitation they get, what's the elevation, what are the plants, what are the animals. So know the differences between each of the different types of deserts and each of the different types of ecosystems. So we'll start with the Mojave. Some people spell it with an H, some people spell it with a J. It's located in eastern California and southern Nevada. So think about the Mojave Desert is Las Vegas. So it's the Las Vegas, Hollywood type desert. And northwest Arizona too, so I left out northwest Arizona. Elevation is about 3,000 to 4,000 feet. It's the hottest desert in the world, and so the temperatures that have been measured there are up to 134 degrees Fahrenheit. And it is also one of the lower rainfall areas in the United States. Not the lowest in the world, but the lowest in the United States. And it gets between 0 and 6 inches per year. So if I asked you on a quiz, for instance, what's unique about this desert, you cannot just say it's really hot and it's really dry. I do expect you to know the differences between the numbers because I've given you the numbers. So be a biologist. If I say, how hot is it? You're going to say it's up to 134 degrees Fahrenheit. Some of the plants that are unique to the Mojave Desert are the creosote bush, the Joshua tree. Those are the 2 very unique plants mostly that you see in this area. Cacti, desert 5-spot is a unique plant. You'll see pictures of that in the PowerPoint. Animals, it's one of the least diverse hot deserts that we have. It's probably my least favorite desert because it doesn't have as many cool animals and plants as some of the others. The coyote, the Mojave rattlesnake, the desert tortoise is cool and it's from there, and the desert pupfish. It's only found in the Mojave Desert, and the desert pupfish is one of the most endangered animals in the world because there aren't very many of them. If we move over to the Chihuahuan Desert, for instance, the Chihuahuan Desert is found in southern Arizona, southern New Mexico, West Texas, so think of Big Bend National Park, and it goes into Chihuahua, Mexico, and Coahuila, Mexico. So the Chihuahuan Desert actually extends further into Mexico than it does into the US. We just have a little bit of it. The elevation is about 1,900 to 5,500 feet. Temperatures range from freezing all the way up to 104. So actually their temperatures are a lot more similar to our temperatures here in Grand Junction. The rainfall is about 6 to 16 inches. And actually they can get up to 25 inches of rain some years. Because they have so much more moisture, this desert is really known for having a lot more grasses because the grasses can survive there where they can't in some of the other places, at least not in abundance. Some of the other plants that are found in the Chihuahuan Desert, creosote bush again, Agaves, and if we think about agave, that's where tequila comes from. Hopefully you're not drinking too much tequila in the time of Corona, or drinking Corona either. Lechuguilla is another plant found here. Mesquite trees, and some of the others, and I'll have some examples of all of those. Animals that are found in the Chihuahuan Desert, there's some very unique endemic animals. There's the Chihuahuan raven, there's the Chihuahuan rattlesnake, there's a gray hawk, which is a very cool hawk, only found there. They also have coyotes, mule deer, and desert bighorns. So those are the main species that are found in those two deserts. All right, our other hot desert then is the Sonoran Desert. One, two, this would be number 3. And the Sonoran Desert is probably the most interesting because it has the most diversity. It's found in southern one half of Arizona, southeast California, into Baja California, and Sonora, Mexico. Elevation of the Sonoran Desert is about sea level to 3,500 feet. So it's one of the lower in elevation. Temperatures can get up to 125 degrees Fahrenheit. And it can also freeze. So you can get snow in the Sonoran Desert as well. Rainfall, they get between 3 and 15 inches per year. They tend to have a kind of a monsoon pattern where they get a lot of rainfall in the summer in and kind of an August monsoon season, and then they also get them in the winter, some monsoon rains. Now if we talk about the plants that are found in the Sonoran Desert, the plants, this desert is the most diverse of all the hot deserts. So incredible plant life in the Sonoran Desert. Things like saguaro cactus, creosote bush again, palo verde trees, ocotillo, bujum, which I'll have pictures of all these again. Cholla cactus, brittle bush, lots and lots of different plants. And then if we look at animals, we have coyotes, mule deer, kangaroo rats, Harris's hawk, which we don't find in our part of the world. And then we also have things like cactus wren and Gila woodpeckers, which I'll have some pictures of those too. So it's a pretty cool desert. It's one of our deserts that we tend to go to for spring break, which is where I went for spring break this year. And it's one of my favorite places. It's very, very beautiful there. So those are all of the hot deserts. And if we think about the cold desert, that would be where we live. And where are my notes? Go. Okay. So, cold desert in the US. So we call it the Intermountain Desert because it's in between mountain ranges, but we're at a very high elevation. So because we're in between mountain ranges, it's very dry. And if we think about where it's located, so western Colorado, where we live, northern Arizona. I know you guys are loving my handwriting today. Southern Utah, and into Nevada. So that's our area of our Intermountain Desert. Our elevation is about 4,000 to 7,000 feet. So we can have a very high elevation, but still be very, very dry. And so when we look at rainfall, rainfall tends to be 4 to 14 inches per year, especially in Grand Junction. Now some of the other places where you have more sagebrush, that number increases a little bit. But most of our precipitation is in the form of snow. And snow is so important because it allows us to have that moisture that allows us really to survive in this particular desert. If we think about plants that are unique to this desert, so they would be plants from my field trip, my desert field trip, things like sagebrush, juniper trees, pinyon trees, four-winged saltbrush, cactus, Mormon tea, yucca, etc. And then if we think about animals, it's going to be a lot of the same animals that we find in the Sonoran Desert, for instance. So our animals would be coyotes, mule deer, desert bighorn, kangaroo rat, kangaroo rats, golden eagles, ravens, rattlesnakes, etc. Those are kind of all of the animals and the commonality between all the different deserts.